All right, guys, you ready to learn everything there is to know about Veve and Ecomi? That's right. Welcome in. David here from CryptoTutorials.org. Today, I am excited. I ran into my third person that I respect who brought up the Veve and Ecomi projects. And for me, when three people bring up the same project in the same week, it's time to do a little research. And so I dove in, found some great sources. I was even able to find a AMA that was done with David Yu, the CEO of the company, just yesterday. So you want to get some fresh information, it is there for you. I'm going to go over everything I know about the project. I know there's a lot of questions about, is it a real decentralized project or is it centralized? There's a token going with it. There's obviously some very high level IP. They've got Marvel, they've got some DC characters, things like that in there. So really interesting, worth knowing about. Find out what the utility is for the token and what they plan upcoming. All right. Now do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. The like is going to make sure this gets shared with a lot more people so that they can learn this information as well about the project. The subscribe is going to make sure you get updates, because I'm telling you, from everything I've learned, I am going to do another video where I'm going to go ahead and download the app. I'm going to go ahead and make a purchase on their blockchain and pick up some of these NFTs because I think they're interesting enough that they're worth me grabbing and learning more about. All right, well, let's get started. Warning, I am not a financial advisor and this is not investment advice. Seek a professional. Hey, guess what? It's almost time for the Blocto sale. That's right. If you don't know, Blocto is a token out there that I'm really excited about. I did a bounty airdrop for them not too long ago and received $200 worth of free Blocto tokens. But on top of that, I also got to buy in before their public sale, when everybody gets a chance to buy in. Me and everybody else who participated had a chance to buy in early, get early round pricing, and get in ahead of everybody else when the token goes. So keep an eye on Blocto. If you think that this looks like something you wish you'd participated in, then go to getmyfreecrypto.com. That's where I have a bounty airdrop masterclass that's going to teach you how to pick good airdrops, how to find them, how to safely do them so that you can get a chance to get in on some of these early release tokens before they get out to everybody. All right, once again, getmyfreecrypto.com. Normally it's a $97 airdrop masterclass. It is free right now, so jump on this while it's still available. All right, so this was the season 1 recap video that Veve let out just to give you an idea what they're working on, what their NFTs are like, and what's going on with them. So you can see here, there's the DeLorean from Back to the Future. Somebody's gonna have to help me out with that one. I'm not familiar with it, but you've got, some other comic book characters, the Joker, Batman, you've got Ultraman, you've got, some more views from inside the DeLorean, inside Back to the Future there. So movies, comic books, they're all done in these 3D rendered characters. You can see that there's a lot of detail and a lot of work going into these 3D models. There's the Ghostbusters, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and then augmented reality. This is right now set up as an iOS and Android app, and when you purchase them, you can view them kind of Pokemon Go style in augmented reality. So as you can see from just that video, these guys obviously have a lot going on, but when you look across the website, you're going to find even more and some more interesting pieces of information on there. So as you can see here, it's listing get it on Google or the App Store. So right now it is an app only. It is not set up to work on a desktop or a web browser, but there's information on that coming up, and I'm going to share that with you as well. We are 99% environmentally friendly. That is because they are on their own separate blockchain. Now, this is both a source of, positive things in the sense that it's much more environmentally friendly blockchain. It doesn't have some of the problems that you get when you get into the gas wars with the Ethereum. But it's also a bit of a problem for a lot of people because it's a question of, is this really a centralized NFT? Do I actually have ownership? Can I move it around, or is it stuck in this particular blockchain, in this particular app, and can only be used in there? So once again, another important question that we're going to cover here shortly when I get to that AMA with David Yu. As we look on down, you can see Mortal Hulk coming out. They've got Marvel Comics. Just for anybody who's not aware, Marvel Comics is owned by Disney. I have no idea if there's going to be any sort of a connection moving in there, but man, if this turned out well for Marvel Comics and Disney decided to put their properties on this, would be absolutely insanely massive. I mean, Disney's IP collection dwarfs Marvel's by, even though they own Marvel, but by a large amount. Go down on here. Here's some of the IPs that are on here. As you can see, Superman, Jurassic Park, Batman, Star Trek, Marvel, Ghostbusters, Powerpuff Girls, a variety of different IPs that are on there. Collectors get a virtual showroom where they can, view this in augmented reality. If you're not very familiar with augmented reality, that's like Pokemon Go, where you can be, walking around in the room holding it up, and it'll add these different elements, these 3D characters in different places within your view, based on whether you own the NFTs for these different things or not. And there's even more utility that I'm going to be explaining to you guys shortly. They have their own internal market where you buy and sell these on there. And along with it, as I said, the VeveVerse. This is their metaverse. They're building out, on their blockchain, their metaverse. I don't know, a whole lot about it. The details are still fuzzy, but I know this is a major part of their plans going forward. So digital collectibles, a lot of really, really interesting things to go with it. As I said, it's both it's its entire own blockchain, so it has its own token, and it's the OMI token, and that's a little view of it. This token didn't really come around until about February this year, so it's not a very old token. It's only been out, 3/4 of a year, half a year, whatever. As you can see, it took a pretty nice run up there, has dipped down, but is starting to really move up, and I think it's an interesting one, both from an investment perspective and from an NFT perspective. I think it's worth putting some energy into. So I'm going to be looking a little deeper into that. All right. Well, now that we've kind of gone over the basics about it, what I'd like to do is jump on in and show you these interviews with David Yu. All of them are done in Chinese. They all have subtitles on them that I'm going to be able to, comment and sort of talk you through some of the things that the subtitles come up on. So I'm going to leave the audio off on them. But like I said, this just literally came out yesterday. So this is as up to the minute information as you are going to get on these projects. All right, so I'm going to start us off a little ways into the interview with David Yu, because I think this is where it starts to get really interesting. Now, I know a lot of people who have asked the question about, is it locked up on their blockchain? Can I take it to Opensea? Can I move it around? Is it really an NFT that I actually control and own? So here he goes into a little bit of information about it. And as you can see, as everyone is aware, right now it's on GoChain, but OMI token is going to be transferring to Immutable X on Ethereum blockchain layer 2 in the next few weeks. Now that's a big deal. Transferring on Ethereum blockchain is very important to them, and it's because they know that most of the people who are purchasing these particular collectibles want to be able to sell them on Opensea. May not be the best source to sell them, but they want to have that option. So this is a priority to them. This is something that they're working to complete as quickly as possible, but it's also a really big project. At this point, I think they've got, about 1.5 million NFTs that they've created. So it's going to be a lot of work for them to get all of them moved over. Yeah, there you go. Substantial amount of time to make this happen, because there's 1.5 million NFTs, but they know the importance of it. They realize how crucial this is to their growth. And so they are working on that with a lot of energy. And so I think that's a really, really important piece right now, to know that, yes, you are going to be able to take your Veve NFT and you're going to be able to sell it elsewhere and move it around and do what you want. Now, here's another really important piece. As of now, you're able to see 20% of their secured licenses. There are 80% of the licenses yet to be announced. That means there are a ton of different IPs that are still to be announced for new NFTs, for different projects that we don't know what these are going to be. Like I mentioned, what if it could be Disney? That could be a massive license. Who knows? But we're waiting to be able to hear on these, because they're slowly letting them out and exposing them to everybody, for everybody to see. Now, here's where he goes on a little to talk about what they're actually doing with their NFTs. So all their NFTs are premium 3D collectible. You can use augmented reality on your phone to be able to see it in the surroundings, to be able to, explore it and experiment with it. And then they have a bunch of different protocols in place to make sure that you're getting legitimate ones of theirs. He even talks about how, in a lot of cases, you might see a hologram sticker on a particular product to make sure that it's a legitimate real version. Well, they have different augmented reality versions of that they're going to be able to use to make sure that you're getting the real, not the pirated NFTs. Another important thing for the value of an NFT is utility. So right now, you can use the augmented reality to read the comic books, to look at them, to see them and move them around, and you're going to be able to put them up in a special metaverse area where you can display all of your different assets that you've picked up there. And along with it, when you start using these NFTs, if you decide you want to read them, if you decide you want to explore the comic books, it is actually going to start to deteriorate. This is one of the things that they're talking about right now that's coming up soon. So the more times you read a comic books or the more times that you sell it, it will become crusty looking, it says, but it will start to deteriorate. Therefore, you're going to be able to tell a new NFT from a used NFT, which is a really strange thing. And part of me loves it. Part of me thinks this is a bad thing, but it's different. I've never heard of anyone else doing it. It's unique. Are you going to be able to buy a poly bag to put your digital comic book inside to try to keep it protected? Who knows? But interesting to look at and interesting to wonder about. All right, so here's where Yu goes on and talks a little bit about some of the growth and future plans of it for Ecomi and for Veve. As you can see, he's talking about the size of the teams and how they need to have, in order to expand into other languages beyond English, they're going to need, language support teams and support teams for the users. You can see this is well thought out, this is planned out. They've got the steps going, but he does talk a lot about how much, moving into China especially is a really big deal. And by the beginning of next year, they're expecting to have 4 or 5 languages out. So these guys have a lot of growth stuff, and it looks like they've been doing a great job of hitting their different deadlines. So you can kind of trust, that it's coming. There he says that, we know how important the China market is, and we're really excited to move into there. And he seems to have the kind of contacts that are going to make that possible. Here he also goes on a little bit to explain some of the tokenomics. As you can see, he's familiar enough with the blockchain and understands what he's doing running a blockchain company to realize that he's got both NFTs and a token. And so they're going to be moving some of that OMI token into a Burn wallet. I don't know a whole lot about the distribution of the OMI token. It may be something I'm going to have to dive into and make a separate video about. So I'll link to that if I get that done. But they're working on expanding and making sure that they both burn some of the token, that they make it a nice deflationary token, that it's moving up in value. So another component that looks positive for this project. And then lastly, it says that by the end of October, you should be able to use a desktop version, which is a really big deal too, because, a lot of people that I know do not want to buy and sell NFTs on their phone. They want to be able to do it from their desktop. It's much more convenient. They want to be able to access these things, which also means that since the augmented reality is, right now being used through the phone, it's probably likely down the road that some of these augmented reality headsets are going to be able to give you access to it so that you can, sit in your chair with your digital, comic book and flip through it and read it and hold it and look at it from different sides and explore it as a digital full 3D good. Well, on top of what I got from this AMA, there was a little bit of information from one other AMA, a few things that I thought were worth sharing. First of all, right now is season 2 of the NFTs are out until the middle of October, and then they're going to be closing that and moving on to season 3. I have never purchased them, so I'm looking forward to it. Apparently they come out in seasons, and there's a little bit of a bidding competition for them. So we're going to let that go, and we're going to know what we can as soon as we can about the different seasons of the NFTs. There's also land going to be for sale in what they're calling the VeveVerse, which is, their metaverse that they're making for their collectibles and things. I don't know how it's going to cross and work with any other metaverse areas. I don't know any of the details of it. There's just not a lot out on it. But I know from a couple different comments that were made in these AMAs that this is a major piece of this puzzle. They almost look at the NFTs as like ancillary extra things to help make their metaverse even more useful. But their metaverse is really the biggest focus for this company right now. And then lastly, they're going to have a project coming up soon that's going to allow you to get signed versions of comic books, which is going to be really neat because, all kinds of different interesting things can be created with that, but you'll be getting, an autographed version of an officially licensed, Marvel, Hulk #1 comic book. These are the kinds of things you can't really get this in real life. So being able to get it on the blockchain is going to be a pretty cool thing. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I enjoyed diving in and finding out more, and I'm definitely going to dig further into this. Obviously, a lot of this hinges upon them actually being able to complete these different things that they seem to be promising, but man, when you're supported by IPs like, Ghostbusters and Spider-Man and Batman, you pretty much have to come through on what you say. Otherwise, they're going to pull the plug on you. They're not going to add, and let you keep adding newer and better different IPs to your thing if you're failing to complete it. So I have a lot of faith that they're actually going to do the things they do. And I think if they do what they say, they have a lot of potential. I also think that they get the utility side of NFTs, which is a really big deal. When I first looked at it, I thought it was just somebody who was trying to, scan a comic book and stick it up on the web and call it an NFT. And for most people in the NFT space, that's just simply not going to be enough. We expect more out of our projects. We expect them to continue to grow and expand and add new features onto the project. And that seems to be what these guys get. They seem to get that side of NFTs. So I have a lot of hope for them with that. And then, like I said, they're going to be moving it out onto Ethereum. It's going to be something you will, probably sometime next year, but you'll be able to sell them on Opensea, buy them on Opensea. That's going to be, a huge step for them. That's going to give them a lot of credibility that they're not just, some separate lockdown little, blockchain, that they're really a part of the entire crypto ecosystem. All right, well, thank you again, guys. I hope you learned something from this. I know I sure learned a lot by making it. Hit that like, hit that subscribe down below so that you can get the next videos when I go and buy some of these, and I'll show you what that process is like. Also, leave comments down below if you have questions. I mean, there's still a ton of information out there to sort through on this project, and so as I find different things, if I know it's something that you're interested in, I'll make sure to include it in a future video. Take care, guys. Aloha.